Social selling webcast. There we go. There I am. Start sharing this screen. Present to everyone. Hello, everybody. I think I will be broadcasting live here. I should be broadcasting live here any second. There we go. Looks like we're going. Okay. Whoa, looks like Hubble Vision too. I have shaky internet today, I guess is the best way to put it. Folks, we'll be going in just a couple of minutes here. Okay, well, looks like Hubble Vision too. Okie doke. Well, I know we're broadcasting. I can see it. And before we get started, we'll get started in about 6 minutes here. Just wanted to tell everyone I'm going to do another LinkedIn Q&A session 2 weeks today on Wednesday, December 16th at 9 a.m. I did one last time, had about 30 people show up with a bunch of different questions on LinkedIn. And I thought that I would try to run these at least once a month, and I'll run the exact same webcast that you're seeing here once a month as well. Usually at the beginning of the month, and I'll run the Q&A session at the middle of the month. I have my friend Chris McKenzie here today with me, who is going to be manning the chat and helping me out. Say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
And we will, as I say, get going in a couple of minutes here. I am just going to put a caveat on this event here this morning. I just got back from Disneyland last night. I totally forgot that I had put this presentation on today. And I got back super late. So I have 3 kids that are at my house. I work out of my house. I have 3 kids at my house. So you may hear some thumping going on upstairs. Please bear with us as there's thumping going on. They try to be good, but I try to strike the fear of God into them, I guess. And they usually are pretty good about this sort of stuff. So, hey, anyways, so this LinkedIn Q&A session, like I say, last time there was probably a good 6-7 questions came out of it. And they were great questions. In fact, I'm going to turn them into blog posts and put them up on my website. Another thing I'm going to do is just in the last couple of weeks, I've started helping out there's a software firm that's based out of British Columbia that I am going to be doing some work with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to track my results that I get through LinkedIn, and usually every Friday or maybe every Saturday or something like that, depending on the end of the week and how tired I am. But I will start to pull the results together to show you kind of what kind of percentages are going on with the different aspects. I've got 4 different kind of buckets that I'm doing right now, leveraging LinkedIn for different leads. So I'll show you which ones are working and how they're working. They all will work, but it's just a matter of which ones work better than the other ones. And so every Friday or Saturday, I'll post up on that. as long as I'm helping this company out and moving them forward as well. So that'll be interesting information for anyone who wants to see how social selling works. So I started doing it last week, and it was kind of just a starting week where I was formulating the plan for the company and then what I was doing. But I did manage to get 7 meetings lined up just by leveraging LinkedIn. And I'm sure I will get more than that. The other thing I'm going to say is I'm only working for this company right now 3 days a week. So if you take a look at 7 meetings over 3 days, so you're kind of looking at about two and a bit a day. So, that would roughly translate to probably 10 meetings a week. When I was doing this before with a company called Intralinks, I was generating literally about 20 meetings a week. And then in addition to it, I was using webinars to push to get my message out there as well. So there's a whole ton of different ways that you can leverage and do. So anyone there that's on, if they would like to sign in, type a message, you can type messages below on the course. Chris McKenzie will be looking after that. And also you can text me at Chris at sales tip, text me at 403, I'm tired, 403-630-1243. Chris, is there anyone you want to say, give a shout out today that's on the, potentially be on the webcast or anything?
Yeah, I think Alexis over at Fast Track, I know he's been eager to see this event and find out a little more, especially with regards to leveraging LinkedIn for all of his clients right across Canada.
Thank you. The other thing I want to talk about is if you go to Udemy, so udemy.com, and type in 20 LinkedIn tips and tricks. I put a course up there, and it's going to be free until tonight. It's about an hour and a half long, maybe just a little longer than that. But anyways, it's a course on 20 tips on using LinkedIn. I have a much larger course. I took the 20 out of that, scaled them down a little bit, and put them into about an hour and a half. So if you go there, it's free right now. And also, if you can, please give me a 5-star review and just type something in saying, hey, great course, going to learn lots from this type thing. I would greatly appreciate that. So it's free for you people up until tonight, and then I'm going to switch it to a paid course, and I'm going to raise it by $10 increments. So it'll probably start out at $10 tomorrow. Next week it'll go up to 20, then it'll go up to 30. I'll see what the mark is, or the hover mark on that, where people stop paying for me gabbing, I guess is the best way to put it. It's right at 9 o'clock, so I am going to get started on this. This course, or this webinar, is on social selling success using LinkedIn. It is going to be like drinking through from a fire hose. If you want to get a copy of this webcast, what you're going to have to do is wait till the very end. And I've got a couple of ways that you can get a copy of this webcast, but you're going to have to wait till the end. Or if you can't wait till the end, email me, chris@salestipaday.com, and just say, Chris, I need to get a copy of the webcast, and I'll send you the ways that you can get the copy of the webcast with me. So without further ado, we've got literally, it's 14 topics, actually more than that, I think now. And there's over 100 plus slides. So you got to settle in. There's going to be a lot of information that you gain from here. In fact, I mentioned Udemy a couple of seconds ago. I've downloaded a couple of courses from Udemy on LinkedIn, and I'll tell you what you're getting for free here is more than what is in these $300 courses on Udemy. So you got an absolute ton of opportunities to learn get a lot out of this. So once again, how to reach me? Text my questions to 403, or text questions to me at 403-630-1243. If you can't, use the chat box down below on the page, and that's where you can ask a question. I've got Chris manning it there. I've got Tracy here, and 9 other viewers, and myself. There's 12 of us online. Sorry, what kind of benefits? That's a question we got. What kind of text it over to Chris? What kind of benefits are we going to get from this course? You are going to learn numerous ways to approach people on LinkedIn to generate qualified sales prospects. You're going to end up filling up your funnel and your sales funnel, and you'll end up learning ways to get more business basically walking in the door. So I always talk about proof, and I'm never, as I tell people, I'm not the biggest guru on LinkedIn. I've been using it forever. I've learned a lot, but I don't try to present myself as the guru or the king of this stuff. But I do know what I'm doing. So, and proof is in the pudding. So if you go to LinkedIn's social selling dashboard, so you go to linkedin.com/sales/SSI, you'll get what they call the social selling index. The social selling index is 4 pillars that they use to determine how you rank as it relates to social selling. Now, social selling it's kind of not something that you should be thinking about doing. It's something you absolutely have to be doing nowadays. And so if you take a look, my rank, I'm at the top 1% of my industry and the top 1% of my network. I have a 88 out of 100, so 88% based on the different pillars. And if you look at the pillars, they're to the right, which is establishing your professional brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships. Now, each one of those, if you click on them, will bring up a small presentation that tells you a little bit about how and what you can do. Also, if you go to my website, salestipaday.com, and look up LinkedIn in the search bar, you're going to see I've got my own information on this where I went through each of the presentations and laid it out so that people can understand what it is. Now, the other thing too, I just want to take a look at is I look at people on the page, they've got something that talks about people in your industry, people in your network. And when I look at people in my industry is sales professionals in marketing and advertising, and they have an average social selling index of 22, which is dismal. I'm 4 times greater than these people. It's perfect for me because of the fact that I know that I am beating my competition in what counts in selling nowadays. As it relates to my my network, I'm about double what they are, but still in the top 1% here. The other thing you can take a look at is I'm in the top 1% of people that view a profile against me based on my profession. And I'm in the top 3% of profile views against my connections. And to give you an idea, I'm 83 out of, at the time when I did this about 2 weeks ago, 2,741 people. That I'm going up against the likes of guys like Brian Tracy, Guy Kawasaki, Dave Kirpin, who else is in there? Stephen Key. All these guys that have established relationships and hundreds of thousands of viewers or people in their social network, such as Twitter and Google Plus and Facebook and stuff like that. So I consider being 83 out of 2,741 as pretty decent. So. Any questions come in yet?
Let's do just a review of the Udemy course.
The Udemy course is, if you go to Udemy, so udemy.com, type in, I've got the link at the very end here too, but if you type in 20 LinkedIn tips and tricks, you're going to see the course, and then you can access it. You're going to have lifetime access to this course. And as I say, please, if you get access to it, please give me a 5-star review and write up a little profile. Every little bit helps with the social proof side of things. So I'm going to go into buyer profiles, people that are going to be your potential customers. There's a bunch of information that I gleaned from a whole bunch of white papers that LinkedIn has, but the main ones are, you have to take a look at 49% of buyers research vendors through their LinkedIn profiles. 50% of buyers avoid sales professionals with incomplete profiles. So no picture, very little information, no way to get a hold of you type stuff, no summary, no job information. So that's one. 44% of social buyers use shared connections to find potential vendors. So for example, I'm connected to Chris here. If I needed a roofer, for example, even though I know roofers, I could go to Chris and go, Chris, who do you know who's a roofer? And he'll say, oh, go check out this person. And I mean, that's how people start leveraging and using LinkedIn for this stuff. The other thing you need to look at is that people, B2B buyers, business to business buyers, not necessarily business to consumers, but business to business buyers, complete 57%, almost 60% of their buying decision before they are willing to talk to a sales rep. So the odds, if you're in sales, the odds are absolutely stacked against you. Most of these buyers have already done their research and have really narrowed down the field. So it's a scary world how things are changing out there. The average cold call appointment rate is 2.5%. That's according to LinkedIn. LinkedIn was referencing some IBM report. There's another one out there by Keller Williams where they looked at 4,000, I think it was 4,000 realtors. And what happened was they determined that the average cold calling appointment rate was less than 1%. It was, and I'm trying to remember, I did a webinar on this a while back. I think it's like 0.6%. It's a horrific, it's dismal. So flip it around. Let's just say it's 1%. If you're cold calling, you're spending 99% of your time banging your head against the wall, doing something that isn't going to amount to anything. Whereas, what I do, leveraging LinkedIn, I'm typically getting about a 40% response rate, whether it's a meeting or I at least get a phone call or some sort of connection or an email going with someone. So it's much higher. It's way higher, obviously. Warm referrals increase your odds of getting sales success by 2 times to 4 times, 200% to 400%. And 84% of B2B decision makers begin their buying process with a referral. So once again, it's you got to let people know what you do, and that way, and what to look for when they are out there listening to people or talking to people, so that they can refer you. So more buyers are using the internet, specifically LinkedIn, to find solutions. If you don't have a complete profile and are not actively engaging, you're missing out on a huge opportunity here. So next thing I'm going to go into, I'm going to talk about the social selling statistics, just so you get an understanding. And HubSpot, which is a great little company out of the East Coast of the US, they do a bunch of marketing stuff, came up with a couple of solutions. But I think the best one I've seen is social selling is when salespeople use social media to interact directly with their prospects. So it kind of gives you an idea. You're leveraging social media to as part of your selling process. So some of the social selling statistics are: top social sellers have 45% more opportunities per quarter and 51% more likely to make quota. So people that are leveraging tools like LinkedIn are the guys who are absolutely, crushing it, according to Gary Vaynerchuk, I guess is the best way to look at it. Sales reps are 70% more likely to get an appointment from a cold connection if they cite a common LinkedIn group. So if you're in LinkedIn groups and you're trying to get a meeting with someone, if you cite that group, you're 70% more likely to get an appointment, which is that automatically increases your likelihood of generating meeting and potentially getting more opportunities in your pipeline. Sellers who reach out to prospects with relevant insights about their business are nearly 5 times more likely to get a response than sellers who reach out cold. So if you're providing valuable information, it doesn't necessarily have to be from your company. It could be stuff you find in the news, or I wouldn't recommend sending stuff from other companies, but if you've got some relevant information, better chances of getting in the door with people. Sales reps who exceed their quota engage on LinkedIn with their prospects 39% more than other professionals. And this means that they're liking, commenting, sharing, and the content that their prospects post and share on LinkedIn. So I'll get into that in a little bit here in this presentation. And last but not least, literally 73% of salespeople using social selling as part of their sales process outperform their sales peers and exceed quota 23% more often. So literally social selling is it's kind of one of those things where it's not something you should be taking a look at in the future. It's something you should be engaging with right now. So salespeople that use LinkedIn and other social media platforms are more likely to exceed quota and make more money. And just as an example, so I'm going to talk about profiles here, but Chris got recruited by a company yesterday through LinkedIn, just by updating his profile and keeping it relevant. So, and you told me it was a company that was outside of the norm, wasn't it? What's the scoop there?
Well, they did a search and found out I was a commercial mortgage associate, and they decided that commercial mortgage associates were key to their extension of their prospecting here in Canada, specifically Alberta. So they didn't actually type me in; they typed the search in, but they were looking for commercial and mortgage, and then sales, and it literally popped up. So we're having a interview chat on Thursday morning, but I found it appropriate for what you're talking about.
Yeah, thanks. So once again, you can go back, take a look at the LinkedIn social selling index here at linkedin.com/sales/SSI. Anyone who's on, if you feel brave enough, why don't you share your SSI? Mine hovers between kind of 86 and 88 on a weekly basis because they check it. They do it daily. But mine hovers between 86 and 88 on a regular basis. So the other thing I just want to show you is that box there that I've got. Look over the verbiage that's on that page. If you click on each one of those, a little presentation comes up like this, and it'll just walk you through what LinkedIn's looking for, what they're talking about as it relates to each of the 4 pillars of the social selling index. Take a look at it. Get yourself knowledgeable on that. This is kind of the way the future is going to be. And also, once again, just go to salestipaday.com and look up LinkedIn, and you'll find I've got a whole bunch of information on social selling index, and LinkedIn in there. So as I say, social selling isn't something we do in the future. It's something that's in the here and now. And if you want to exceed quota and absolutely crush it, then that's something that you have to be doing. So the first thing I'm going to get into, I'm going to talk about a premium account. And so people that have just joined, just to let you know, it's very in depth. You're going to learn a lot of information in this presentation. It's first one I did was about 2 hours. The second one I did was about 1 hour and 45 minutes. This one I'm going to try to get down to about 1 hour and a half, but well worth staying on. I had a gentleman out of Ottawa who took some of the tips and tricks that he learned in this webcast and was able to generate meetings instantly, and took basically doubled his social selling index just by leveraging some of this stuff. So first thing I'm going to talk about is premium account. I highly recommend anybody who is on LinkedIn to get a premium account. Don't use a free account. Premium account gives you so much more. Sorry guys. The first thing you do is in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see it says upgrade. So I don't know if you can see where I'm circling right now, but it says upgrade. If you click there, it'll bring you to this page. Make sure you click on the LinkedIn Premium. Don't go for recruiters, for job seekers, for sales professionals. This is a whole separate product from LinkedIn called Sales Navigator. Really, truthfully, all you need right now is to get going is go for this premium, the Business Plus account. And I believe I've been on it forever, but I think if you go on, you can get a special deal. It's a 30-day free, and then they discount it, and you go from there. So here's what I'm gonna do. Here's the reason why I say you should seriously look at getting a free account or a premium account over a free account is some of these reasons that I'll show here. So first of all, you get to see who's viewed your profile. So I get to look back 90 days at anyone who's viewed my profile. On a free account, I believe you can only look back, it's like 5 people is really what it is. It's 5 people or 5 days. Once again, I don't have a free account, so I don't know for sure. But the fact is that if people are looking at your profile, it presents an excellent opportunity for you to connect with them and grow your network. Growing your network on LinkedIn is essential because of the fact that the more people you have in your network, the more people that you've gained relationships with exposes you to their network, which then in turn allows you to book more meetings. I'll get into that in a little bit here, but it's a great opportunity to connect with like-minded people. Sending in-mail messages on a free account, you don't get any. On a premium account, it starts at 15, goes up to 50 a month. They carry over month after month. And if you were to buy them, I'm in Canada, so I'm using Canadian dollars here. It costs $10 for each one. So you get 15 a month. So 15 times 10 is $150. I pay $49 a month for my account. So I've already, tripled the amount of the ROI based on just doing that. Introductions, same sort of thing. You can leverage your connections to get introduced to people. On a free account, you only have 5. On a premium account and above, it starts at 25. So you get 5 times as many. A couple other things is the premium search. I'll show you the advanced search functionality. You get, with the first level, you get 4 additional filters that you can use. And the biggest one that I find is company size. So LinkedIn breaks it down to, I believe it's 1 person, 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 20 to 100, somewhere in that range. But anyways, you get, it'll help you hone in on the right people in the right companies with just getting that in there as well. The profiles per search. So if you go out and you type sales rep into LinkedIn in the search bar, the free account brings back 100. The premium account, the one that I have, brings back 500. Although right now it's actually bringing back 1,000. So I have no idea why it does that, but I'll take it, and hopefully LinkedIn won't cut me back on any of that stuff. The other thing too is it allows you to get 7 saved search alerts. And I'll get into that in a second, but this is how LinkedIn hands you free sales leads on a weekly basis. If you have a premium account, it allows you to do it daily. LinkedIn will send you literally potential sales opportunities every day, or at least weekly with a premium account. So once again, just go in the upper part of LinkedIn, and then you click on your picture, you click on the upgrade, and then what you do is you second option down, you can click which account you want to get into. So there, I highly recommend it. It's well worth it. Invest in yourself as a person, and you'll get paid back in spades. So the one thing we're going to talk about, Chris McKenzie here just talked about how he was approached by people on LinkedIn via his profile, and in this case, I'm going to talk about building out a profile and what you need to do. So a profile is all about selling yourself and what you offer and how it sets yourself apart. One thing I always say is, if you're not looking for a job, then don't write it like a resume. Don't write your profile like a resume. Write it based on what prospects want and how you can fulfill those wants and needs and desires. So here's 11 profile tips. I'll go into a couple of these in a little bit more detail in a couple of seconds, but make sure that your tag or your headline, you provide a benefit, and it's for your target audience. And I'll show you mine in a couple of seconds. Picture, put a picture in, get a good picture. It increases your profile views by 11-fold. 50% of buyers avoid a profile without a picture. So once again, make sure you have a picture. Add your website and your social profiles if you can. You can put slide shares in your profile. So SlideShare is, go to slideshare.net. It's owned by LinkedIn. It is a place where you can put your presentations up, and you can embed them in your profile as well. You can also put videos from YouTube and the likes of like Vimeo in your profile, which I highly recommend. And also, there's a LinkedIn link. I say personalize that. I'll show you in a second. Make sure you add your industry, because it will increase your views by 15%. So I think, actually, I don't know whether they do this or not now, but LinkedIn forces you to put an industry in so that people know how to find you. So once again, if you're in real estate, make sure it's real estate. If you're in the capital markets, make sure it's under capital markets. And that way, when people are searching, they're going to be able to find you, because that's one of the search entities that LinkedIn uses to let people find you on LinkedIn. Education, make sure you put your education in there. It increases your views tenfold. And also put keywords in your summary. So for me, it'd be like sales and marketing. Make sure you put that in your summary, and make sure that you have more than 40 words in there. And once again, now here, just add your skills in there, and I'll show you that in a couple of seconds. You add them and you get 13 times more views. So first thing we're going to take a look at here is my profile. So first thing I talk about is the picture. So that's my ugly mug right there. And the that increases my profile view by 13-fold, I think is what it said in the 11-fold. What is it? 11-fold. There we go. Here is my tagline. So literally what I do is that your SMB, small, medium business marketing resource that will help you generate up to 10 times more sales leads. Ask me how. There's a clear call to action in there. Here's who I serve. Here's what I do. So make sure you have something that tells people what you do, who you serve, and to get a hold of you. Here is where the industries are. So right here, when you're in LinkedIn and you're editing your profile, there'll be a pencil. You can click it, and then you have a bunch of different industries that you can actually pick from as well. Down here, make sure you put your email in, your phone number, so people can get a hold of you. You can put in your instant messaging, or, in this case, I've got my Skype account, put your Twitter handles. I've got some websites in here. This is your personalized link. Usually when LinkedIn does it, it comes up with a whole bunch of different numbers and digits and stuff. But you can actually change that, and you can't see it. It's pretty small, I'm sure, on the screen. But at the very end, I've got Chris Hamilton, CA. Someone in Canada had already taken Chris Hamilton, so I had to put the CA on the end. I can put a YYC to denote Calgary or whatever it is. And the last thing I want to talk about is make sure you get to 500 connections as quick as humanly possible. This is social proof to show that you have a huge network. You may only have 501 people, but they won't actually list how many people you have up here. So it gives social proof to make it look like you've got a huge network. People who are looking for individuals to help them out are looking for someone who has a huge network. Same thing with anyone that is looking for a job. If you have a huge network, you're going to be golden in the eyes of recruiters as well.
Even small business owners too, Chris.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. So I just talked about it. You can add videos and slides to your profile. And in this case, in my summary, I've got videos in here. I do have some profiles, some slides as well. And I have, I think, over 100 sitting in my summary. So you could go through it all day and spend it on there. The other thing I've got is you can add it into your work experience. So I've got a few in one that I was doing for Intralinks, where I was a senior account executive up until March of this year. And I've put some stuff in there as well. How you do this is literally when you go into edit mode, click on this little box up here, and it'll say you want to add something. Or then what happens is you'll see you can add a document, a photo, a link, video, or a presentation. Links are kind of cool. You can add a link to a website. If you have a white paper you want someone to download, you can put that on there. Put something in like I have a 20 I think it's like 20 best sales and marketing tips and tricks. And I've got it in there. You get a link, put a link in, and people will go through to it and download that from me as well. So there's that's what you do. You add the stuff there. So here's something that you can use. So this is a little piece of information I picked up is once again, adding a profile picture will increase your views by 13 times. And there's a great little site out there called Photo Feeler, and it's free to use. And what it does is it ranks you on 3 things. So it's whether you're competent, likable, or influential. Apparently, I'm not very likable because I'm only at 41%, but competent, I'm 93%, and influential, I'm 87. That's not bad, eh?
That's a bad picture.
Apparently, I got to smile. I'm going to do another one where I'll be smiling, right? And the reason I'm not showing myself today was I grew a goatee for Movember. And because I was away, I couldn't shave it off, and it's on today, and it's gray. So I'm looking like I look as old as what?
Santa.
Santa, yeah, or who's the guy from Colonel Sanders from KFC?
Oh, there you go.
So there we go. So, anyways, back to this. One of the main things that you look at is go to Photo Feeler. Take your photo, you upload it. Now, what you have to do is you actually have to judge 10 people, and then what happens is they judge you. And you're going to see how you rate. Now, the biggest ones on LinkedIn are competent and influential. Likable isn't the biggest one. I'm not saying that because I'm really bad at the likable score, but usually it's just competent and influential. But if you can get all of these up really high, 80% or greater, then you pretty much have a half decent picture that you can use on LinkedIn. And people will approach you more by getting that picture in there. So that's a little thing that you can do. So the other thing is that LinkedIn does a great job of trying to help you out every step along the way. So when you are trying to edit your profile, off to the right, it'll tell you your profile strength. So it'll start at beginner and then works its way all the way up to all-star. And so not only that, they'll also guide you through and say, you need to do this, add this, put this in, and it'll help you build out your profile. They don't leave it up to chance for you to build out your profile. And it's just a great way for people to help you out. By the way, the other thing too is if you look in the background here, I got a bunch of arrows with stuff on it pointing towards me. If you go on to LinkedIn and look up LinkedIn profile template, you'll find a template that you can use to add information in here and push people over. Now, the one thing I don't have is over on the side here, because I cut the picture off, is I've actually got my name, email address, and my phone number and with a call to action, like call me if you need help with stuff. So that's another little tip that you can use there as well. The last thing I want to tell you about is how to save your friendships and stop annoying people. On your profile page, every time you make a change, if you have this little button on that says, notify my network, yes, it'll notify your network that, hey, he's made a change. And it may be that I just added an extra word in my profile, but it's going to tell people, hey, he's made a change. And then everyone thinks he might have got a new job or this or that. But after a while, it gets annoying. So turn that to no, save your friendships. Biggest thing. Last tip I'm going to give you, if you're going to struggle with creating a profile for yourself or your summaries or anything like that, one thing you can do is go to Elance, which is going to be called, Upwork now. It's changing on January 1, I think is what it is. But if you go to elance.com or upwork.com, you can hire people to do this, and it's not overly expensive. Probably cost you maybe $20, $30 to get something like that done. So highly recommend. If you're completely illiterate and can't do this, go to Elance to get that done. So now, do we have any other questions there?
Not yet. We're good.
No, but we've got 18 people online. I greatly appreciate that many people showing up for this event. Thank you very much. We are now into the advanced search tips and tricks. Now, from this, you're going to learn how to hone in on searching for people online and finding more ideal, better qualified prospects. And the first thing you do to use the advanced search is you go to the upper part of LinkedIn and click that little thing that says advanced, and it will bring up this box, and you can search on people or jobs when you bring it up this way. And there's a whole bunch of different parameters in here. So LinkedIn gives you these kind of 8 over here for free. If you're paying for a premium account, like I was talking about, this is where you get some of these extra premium ones in. And the 2 that I've got 4 that I can use on my account. I can use this groups and company size. The other 2, truthfully, I don't even know which ones I have. I only use company size and groups when I'm doing additional searches on LinkedIn. So these ones are free. These ones you get paid for. This company size here will be a lifesaver for you because what happens is you'll find that you're finding people that are sole entrepreneurs. And if you're trying to sell to companies that are like 1,000 plus, you're going to get a lot of people back coming back in results that really just kind of skew the results and bring back bad results. You further got to vet it. It allows you to vet it. So first thing I'm going to talk about is quotes. So when you put quotes around 2 or more words, it's saying to LinkedIn that it wants that exact phrase to be brought back. And in this case, the other thing too is you can put the brackets around the parentheses. So it allows you to combine terms and modifiers. And I'll get into modifiers in a sec here. But in this case, I've got the quotes around vice president, which pulls that word together. I've got a capital and, capital A-N-D, and a capital O-R here. And I've got the brackets here, sales or marketing. So what I'm saying is I'm looking for someone who is a vice president sales or vice president marketing to bring back results. So a lot of times people just put in vice president sales. The reason that this doesn't work is it will bring back presidents, it'll bring back sales reps, it brings back a whole bunch of garbage. By just going in and doing this, you're going to bring back way better results. So I'm going to talk about the modifiers right now, and, or, and not. These have to be in uppercase. So what happens with and is it's when you're searching for 2 terms that need to be included, absolutely positively. So you're looking for someone who's vice president sales and marketing, not vice president sales, not vice president marketing. You want vice president sales and marketing. Or is when you bring in something to broaden the search. So in this case, I've got vice president or VP sales and marketing. And some people will put in vice president as a title. Some people put in VP. So this just broadens, once again, your ability to bring back better qualified results. And in this case, I'll show you. So I preface this with LinkedIn's results when they come back change on a daily basis. So these numbers that I've gotten here were from a couple of months ago. They're going to be close, but they're not going to be the same if I were to run them today. So anyways, I went vice president, sales and marketing in Calgary. It brought back 35 people. When I add or VP in here, it brought back 2,199, almost 2,200 people. So I would have missed out on almost 2,164 potential opportunities if I just stuck to this. So this one alone is going to increase your ability to bring in better qualified results on LinkedIn. So now the last one we're going to talk about is not. So what you want to do is you want to find someone who has a vice president of sales and not marketing. So basically it excludes a term. So on to my next slide here. We're going to use the advanced search here and show you how to do this sort of stuff. So what I do at a lot of times is I will do relationships. I'll pick a first level and a second level. And the reason why I don't pick group members in third is that if I really absolutely have to broaden it, I will include group members. Third level and everyone else is just, it's a waste of your time. You're never going to get to those type of people by leveraging your first level connections to get in the door. The other thing you look at is pick the location. You can add locations by clicking the add button down here. The other thing is we've got current company, industry, past company. I use groups, and in this case, I'm looking for a president or owner in groups, and I'm looking for someone who's in young oil and gas professionals. And this one will bring back 173 results. So why did I do this? Once again, I quoted this earlier. Sales reps that are 70% more likely to get an appointment from a cold connection if they cite a common LinkedIn group. So if I had any second level persons in here that I wanted to connect with, I could just message them or reach out to them and cite that we're part of the young oil and gas professionals group, would like to connect with them. So we got a question here. How could one capture people who are effectively VPs but don't use that title? Interesting question. Let me think about this for a sec. So how would you capture people that are effectively VPs but don't use that title? Typically, if you're a vice president, you're probably going to use that title, I would think.
Yeah. If you don't, then you're hiding unintentionally, but you're hiding.
Yeah, you're hiding. So I don't, Alexis, I think is that. The only other way you could do it is maybe look up sales manager, sales director, something like that, and see if it matches. But
it's a bit like a Google search. It's going to get as close as you can. If somebody's lacking that title, I don't know if you're going to be able to search it.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was taking a drink of coffee because my throat is going on me right now. Truthfully, I don't think, most people will put their title in because they're trying to get found, or it's their professional facing social network profile. So most people will put that in. Like I say, the only recommendation I can think is look up sales manager, sales director, and that could potentially get you someone who's a closer fit to that sort of stuff as well. One of the other things you could do, actually, sorry, I will show you. If you have a premium account, though, you can get, I think it's functionality or seniority level, one of the two. I think it's seniority level. You can click VP in there, and it'll bring back results that are close to that as well. One last thing I'm going to do on the advanced search is if you just go to LinkedIn and type in Boolean search tips. So it's BOOLEAN search tips, LinkedIn Boolean search tips. You're going to get this sheet that pops up, and it shows you how to do searches on LinkedIn and explains it a little further. I just went through the detail just to kind of give you some real world examples there. So one of the things about generating sales leads on LinkedIn is you've got huge networks of people that you can be connecting with. First level, second level, group member, and third and beyond. Typically third and beyond, I just say you almost have to avoid because of the fact that it's going to be tough to get in the door. Your odds are going to be very low success-wise in connecting with them or getting a meeting with them. But I'll get to that in a couple of seconds. So I'm going to talk about approaching first level connections. So in most of these examples, I'm using vice president in quotations with an uppercase and sales, or uppercase marketing as a search term, just to figure this out. So I try to keep it consistent. So what are your first level connections? Those are people that you're directly connected to. So Chris McKenzie sitting beside me here is a first level connection of mine on LinkedIn. He's a direct connection on LinkedIn. If Chris knows somebody outside that I'm not connected to, then the person that Chris knows that I don't know and not connected to becomes a second level connection. And then if someone's connected to that second level connection, that's a third level connection on LinkedIn using their terms. How do you know who a first level connection is? Well, basically, when you look at their profiles, you're going to see a little box. You'll see first, second, third group, a bunch of different things. Here's a tip that I always talk about on LinkedIn is make sure that you're always strengthening your first level connections, because you want to leverage your first level connections to get into your second level connections. And I'll show you why in a couple of seconds here. So how do you do searches for people in your first level connection? Once again, you hit the advanced bar or advanced search up at the top, brings up the advanced search bar. And then what you do is click the first connection under relationship. You click the location you want to be in, and then you add a title and hit search. And that will bring back a bunch of different results for you. Oops, I pressed up. In this case, it brought back 25 people that are sales and marketing, VPs of sales and marketing in different companies that are in my first level connections that I could reach out to. And when I reach out to these people, I use a letter. My first level connection letter that I use to people goes along the lines of basically says, hello, whatever your name is, hope all is well. I go through, I say, hey, look, I'm working for a company. I think we have something that might be applicable to your company. Here's a product or service. Here's the benefits that it does. I've attached a couple of documents to see how it worked with your company. Do you have time for a quick call? If it doesn't fall in your world, then I was hoping that you could point me in the right direction at your company. Please let me know if you're available for a call, or if you want, we can grab a coffee. I'll be downtown, whatever days. Be nice to get to know what you do, so I may be able to help you out too. That's how I connect with people to try to get in the door to get a sales meeting booked with them. And last week, as I say, just doing this, I managed to get 7 meetings wrapped around just leveraging my first level connections. So this week I'm going to start leveraging my first levels to get into my second levels and see how many meetings I can start getting up. So go back to my website Friday or Saturday and you'll start seeing those results there. Now, why is it important to strengthen your first level connections? Is because it's who they know that's going to help you out and get you way more meetings. So by adding second level connections, in this case, I increased my results by 78 times, 78-fold increase. And just in the Calgary area for VP of sales and marketing. So it broadened that out. Now what happens is I can use that second level or first level connection to get in the second level connection. So here's where we're going to talk about getting into approaching the second level connections on LinkedIn. So this is going to look very familiar. You're going to keep seeing me reference this advanced search box or search functionality in LinkedIn. Under relationships, click second level connections. Click your location, put your title in, and then hit search. And results come back. So in this case, it only brought back 114 results. But let's say I want to reach out to this Gary Leach person and try to book a meeting with Gary. So what I'm going to do is, first thing I can look at is I can click there's a button that says shared connections just below his profile. And when I click on that, it brings up 3 people that I could reach out to get an introduction to Gary. Now, in this case, I know all 3 people, so I could probably leverage them to get into Gary. But if it pops up and I don't see anyone there that could get me into Gary, then what I need to do is down below, I'm going to see a view all my shared contacts. In this case, it's 16. You click on that, and then what happens is you end up getting all 16 people that are connected to him. And I can go through all those 16 and find the person that is the best direct connection for me into Gary, and then leverage an introduction letter, something like this. And the subject line I usually use with people. And what I do, first of all, I take these outside of LinkedIn. Instead of using LinkedIn's messaging service, I use email to send these out to my connections. I say, can you help me out? Hello, whatever their name is, hoping you can help me out. I'm taking a new solution, product, whatever, to the market right now, hoping you can help me out by making an introduction to this person at this company. The solution helps companies like theirs with whatever the benefit is. Do you know this person well enough to introduce me? If so, here's an intro you can use. And then I write this intro letter that's very similar to what you saw in the first one, which basically says, hey, this person copy and paste this, put it into an email and send it to them. And long story short, what you do is by creating this email that your contact can copy and paste into an email, you're going to greatly increase the likelihood that they will do that for you, because you dumb it right down, and this literally takes them all about 30 seconds to do, and people will do that if you create that kind of email for them in advance. So I'm going to tell you, so this is one of LinkedIn's, it's one of the best things available in LinkedIn that people never leverage. And I'm going to tell you why. So I've only had literally 2 people in the last 12 months, reach out for an introduction from me. And I would bet over my lifetime of using LinkedIn, about 10 years, I've had maybe 5 people to 10 people ever ask me for an introduction. Now, why is this? You should be using this and leveraging this. And the reason being is because I say I'm getting about 40%, but when I first started doing this, I get about 40 to 50% of the referrals into a meeting, or at least into a conversation on a phone or on email. It's about 40% right now. It's leveled out at around 40%, but that's way better than that cold calling at less than 1%. I'm getting about a 40 to 50 times greater response rate than just cold calling. So it's a huge, huge opportunity. Not only that, if you get in and build a relationship with these second level connections, make them first level connections, build on those connections, then what happens is you're creating this whole kind of digital referral engine that you can leverage to sell. And this is the true essence of social selling. So as I said, another tip here is with a free account, you get 5 introductions. With a premium account, you get 25. So you can leverage LinkedIn, but I always get people to do it outside of LinkedIn. And literally, it's through email. So I'm going to stop right now. Guest number 956. Do we get slides or a recording, please? I will absolutely, you can get the slides and I will send a recording out, but you have to do something for me. It's at the very end. So I'm trying to get you to stay to the end. If you can't stay to the end, email me, chris@salestipaday.com, and say, Chris, hey, I'd like to get a copy of the presentation. I'd like to get a copy of the recording.
You do customized recordings and all that.
Yeah. They're all different each time and stuff like that. I'll also let you in on a little secret. Occasionally I get kind of lazy, and if you stay on the page where you're watching this presentation right now, you'll see the video. It'll stay up for about 3 or 4 days afterwards. If you right click on your mouse, you can copy the URL for the YouTube. I can't believe I'm giving the secret away, but you can copy the URL for the YouTube video and just keep it, and then you'll have access to the YouTube video. All my YouTube videos on this are unlisted, so you won't be able to search them and find them either. So that's another reason. So hopefully that answers your question, guest 956. Thanks for asking. Why do referrals work? The digital referrals work. The digital referrals work because the typical sales close at 25%. Referrals close at closer to 50%, so about double the rate. Referrals convert from a basic, introduction into a sales lead at 3 to 5 times better. And the reason being for that is because, your connections or first level connections will already have they'll already have built trust with them. So they'll trust that when they're introducing someone into them, that they've been vetted beforehand. So that's it. 65% of all new business is from referrals. Only 11% of salespeople ask for referrals. Goes back to my point where I've only had literally 2 people in the last year ask me to get introductions. So 89% of salespeople don't ask for referrals, yet are responsible for 65% of sales. Of all sales, and there's 65% of all sales, and they close at 2 to 4 times the average. Can't think of an easier, better way to actually hit my quota and generate more business. So once again, this distills this whole social selling down to what's going on, why they get literally 50% more opportunities and close 50% more business is because of the fact they're leveraging the digital referral. Now, here's another thing that you can do, finding someone in a company. So if you click on first level connections, second level connections, you find a company that you want to get into and you want to find a title and hit search, what's going to happen is people are going to show up in LinkedIn. And let's say, for example, I want to reach out to somebody on LinkedIn who is in a finance world or something like that. And I think what I use is this Colin Foley, who's the first guy here. I find a person that I know in LinkedIn through here as a first level connection. And what I do is I find that second level connection and I just say, hey, do you know this person? Do you know who they are? And the reason why I reach out that way is because the person I know who's my first level connection that works at a company may know this person, but may not be connected on LinkedIn. So it's one of those things where, I send an email out and say, hey, can you introduce me to this person in your company? Or if this isn't the right person, can you point me in the right direction? So that whole section on approaching second level connections is absolute gold for you guys. That's how you're going to absolutely crush your, I keep using crush. I got to stop saying that. Gary Vaynerchuk, I must have been reading his book recently, but that's how you're going to exceed plan and bring more opportunities in the pipeline for you. Here we are talking about third level connections. I'm not a big fan of approaching third level connections. Reason being because they're so far out of your network, it's too tough to get at them. But the easiest way to do it is if someone's a third level connection, send them an in-mail. So if you got a free account, you're going to have to purchase an in-mail, or you're going to have to send them one. Or even better yet, you know what? Well, here's how you actually send one. I would just simply suggest that you connect with them. But here's the letter I use is I found your contact information on LinkedIn based on search people with whatever keyword in their profile. Thought I'd reach out to you as I'm working with a company that has something that might be applicable to you. Company is called whatever. We do this. Hoping to get together and talk to you about this. Would you be open to it? And they can respond to you or not respond to you on LinkedIn on that one. As I say, though, best bet is go to their profile and hit connect and try to connect with them. And then what you're doing is you need to add that little piece of information. So down here, for this Ryan fellow, I said, I came across your profile on LinkedIn and see that you insert something of interest. I'd like to add you to my professional network. When they end up becoming a connection, if they become a connection, what you need to do is then don't just spam them immediately and say you want to get a meeting. Try to build some sort of relationship with them and just say, hey, if they accept, send them an email afterwards and say, hey, I try to keep in contact with people on a consistent basis and, provide, meaningful information. Hope you don't mind me reaching out every once in a while. Send the person something over a couple of months, 2-3 month period, and they're going to know who you are. Pick up the phone, book that appointment with them. You'll have a way better chance of getting a meeting that way than just approaching with an in-mail. I'm going to talk about approaching group members, and literally we're about halfway through this. My throat's going. Give me a sec, guys. I got to drink some coffee here. And Chris got texted a message of, would you do this for my sales team or for my team and help my company out? Yes, I would. I customize these presentations to fit different companies, and yeah, absolutely would be more than happy to do that. So
working on one for financial planners.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I got that going on as well. So there we go. Approaching group members. So same thing. What you do is you're going to get sick of this box, but the advanced people search, hit group members, hit the area, hit the title that you want. In this case, I'm also using a group on LinkedIn to find people, and it brought back 61 people that are group members. Now, what you're going to see is sometimes you're going to see first level and second level connections, but that's because they're part of the same group that you've actually gone into on this one. So that's why you're going to see first level and second level. You may see third level and group members only, denoted by the little box that's beside their name. So another way to include all group connections when you're searching on stuff is just hit the group members. Down the side, right-hand or left-hand side here, there is the ability to include group members, and it just dramatically increases the amount of people that come in under different groups that you have. Once again, sending an email out, it's basically, hey, I found your information. We're both part of this group. Have an offer that's applicable. Here's what it does. Here's the benefits. Here's the value, everything like that. Basically was hoping I could connect with you and reach out to you on this stuff as well. And add a PS. You know what? PSs are great because people will read the front part and then the bottom part, and a lot of times they skip over this stuff. And then this will catch them. This may catch them, and then they'll read through this if it makes sense to them. The better way to do it, once again, just reach out, connect with them this way, and send them the information, just like we did in the last section here. So Couple more things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about writing posts on LinkedIn. So what are posts? So posts are they're like blog posts basically that you can add in LinkedIn. And I'll show you how to do this and set this up. But it's a great way to get people to see information, make you become a thought leader. Once again, this is one of the pillars of LinkedIn's 4 social selling pillars on social selling index. And it's, becoming a thought leader or sharing relevant information. And so I highly recommend this. So this is one that I did. It was 15 LinkedIn advanced search tips. I got 102 views. I got 11 likes. I got one person commenting on it. And I just throw this out. And usually here's something that I do. I put this up on my blog, and I also put it up on LinkedIn. I usually wait a couple of weeks to put it up on the other one. So if I loaded this up on LinkedIn first, then I'll wait 2 weeks and put this up on my blog on at Sales Tip a Day. And typically, Sales Tip a Day, I'll get 300-400 views. Here I get 100 views. So, I get one view here to every 3 views on my website, but it's an additional 25% of people that get to see my information. So why do you want to write posts? Once again, you get to be seen as a thought leader. Your posts get seen by your connections. They can get you in front of a wider audience because if your connections share it or like it, it shows up in their stream and their connections will see it, and allows you to connect with people who are like-minded. So you're going to have second level and third level connections that like your posts, so see your posts and like it, and you get to connect with them as well. So how do you actually write a post? When you're in your profile, on the first front of your profile, there's a thing that says publish a post, or if you've already published a post, it'll tell you how many people have looked at it over the last 3 days here. Click either one of those and it'll bring up a page that allows you to write a post. Once again, I've got Hubble Vision here, but if this says interests, it's the last tab on your LinkedIn profile on the page there. Go down to Pulse, and then you can see publish a post right here. Click on that. The other thing too is that when you're actually in your profile, if you've written posts before, you're going to see posts, and you can write a new post, or you can view your stats against your posts. And then what I'm going to do is you go into really quickly what you do. It's 5 steps. Add an image, write your headline, put the information in here, add some tags, and then hit publish. That's how easy it is to do this. Now I do it a little bit more, a little bit more complex. I actually add videos. I transcribe the videos. I take a screenshot from the video. I have different ways for people to connect with me on my posts as well. But if you look at the posts, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but they give you a lot of cool things that you can actually do. I'm going to focus on these over here. You can put a hyperlink. So if you want to put your company's website in here and link to it, you can add that. You can add a photo. Once you add a photo, you can actually hyperlink on that photo so people can click on it. I'll show you this in a couple of secs. And you can add a video. You can use YouTube for some reason or other. I have no idea. I've never gotten YouTube to work on it, so I use Vimeo and post my videos up using Vimeo on these posts. One of the things that we could do,
No, I just want to interrupt, but there's a thank you there from guest 956.
Oh, hey, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I think the other point, Chris, too, that I'm seeing is small business owners. This is free advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Why in the world? I mean, we're talking about salespeople. We talk about obviously mortgage and real estate, but the small business owner should be spending half an hour every day working on this and driving leads right to their website.
Absolutely.
The door.
Absolutely. And here's one of the ways you do that, right? As a small business owner, I'm a small business owner. I created this little image here. I click this button here, I upload it. And then when I do that, I click on the picture, I hit this link, and I add this hyperlink down here, or URL or website address. And when someone clicks on it, it says, click here to sign up for our next LinkedIn selling success webcast. And when they click on that, it brings them through to a landing page, which allows them to sign up. And basically, I mean, that's a lot of how people end up getting on the presentation today,
right,
was by doing that as well. So that's one of the ways you do it. And the other thing that's kind of cool with writing posts is that when you go to your main page, it says 31 people have looked at it. It pulls up a overview of, here's your posts right here. Here's how many people have looked at over a certain period of days. And that shows you people that have actually looked at it. I've got a couple second level connections here. What I do is I click on their picture or their name, and then I send them an email or an invite saying, hey, would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. Thanks for liking my post today or sharing my post or whatever it is. would love to connect with you. And that's how you grow your network. Once again, growing your network is all about getting to the second level of people, which is going to allow you to generate more sales opportunities coming down the pipeline. So tips on posts: post often, post great information. Don't just put crappy spam up. That's like buy.
Don't be selling your house.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, seriously, yes, don't.
Realtors do not sell houses.
I have
on
seen that. Don't do it. Right? It's like that. It's business. It's all about business. If you're a realtor, talk about what you need to look for when you're selling your house or when you're buying a house or something. Like put tips up and stuff like that. That's what gets you found. Have links to information in your posts so that people can connect with you or reach out to you. I often go through and I also thank the people that like, share, and comment on my posts just to say, hey, appreciate you doing that stuff. Make sure you connect with your second, third level connections that go on there, or any group member connections or anyone outside of your realm. I would say have a clear call to action. So once again, when you take a look at here, this is my call to action. Sign up for my next webcast. I'm not selling. I'm just saying come in and sign up for this. And optional, if you have a blog, post to your blog, then on LinkedIn, or vice versa. Do it every 2-3 weeks apart and stuff like that, so you get maximum exposure for your posts. I'm going to talk about sending emails, or at least in LinkedIn, I guess it's messaging now. Not a big fan of this new messaging service that they have. I think they kind of messed it up, but I mean, I understand it because they're moving more towards it's almost like text messaging going on here as well. And that's kind of, that's, if anyone has kids, or Chris and I are dirt. So, but if you're younger, or if you have kids that are younger, it's just text messaging is what it's all about. One of the things you do is you can check all your connections in the upper right-hand corner. You can search on people. You can reply to people down here by hitting reply, or you can forward to different people. One of the ways that you can write one is up in the upper right-hand corner. There's a little icon with a pencil. You click there, and what you can do is type someone's name in. It'll start bringing up your connections. You can click on them and start writing a post. The other thing you can do is you can add a picture. You can add a file, and I think you can go as high as 2 megabytes on the files. This is their little emojicons. Be careful when you use this, because when you click it, it just puts the picture in and sends it automatically. It doesn't give you the ability to put a smiley face in and add some verbiage into it or anything like that. One of the things they also put is press enter to send. Unclick that, because most people will type and hit enter to go to a next paragraph. When you do that, a box keeps popping up saying, you sure you want to send? You have to unclick that, and then eventually LinkedIn learns that and just keeps it open for you. And then basically you hit send. One of the ways that I like to send messages that's still in LinkedIn, although I think this will ultimately go away, is when you go to someone's profile and click send a message. It allows you the ability to put a title in, and also the message as well. A couple other ways: you can go into your connections tab, and when you're in your connections tab, you can filter people down here. Click message to message them, and it pops up this way. When you do it this way, same thing. You're allowed to put a subject in, and it puts a message in. I believe the way LinkedIn's got it set up, and the reason why I say I believe the way LinkedIn's got it set up right now is that they change things. They're changing things frequently on the site now. But in this case, when you send a message, I believe it will go through to the person's inbox. It'll also show up in their email. Another way you can do this is, once again, when you're in connections, when you scroll down, you got a bunch of connections. You can click a whole bunch of different people and click message. Be careful of this, though, is because you send it out, and every single one of these people are going to see that you're sending it to them. And then also, if they reply back, they're going to get on that thread as well. So it becomes this big, massive thread all of a sudden as well. One of the things that I often tell people to do, though, is in LinkedIn, is you have the ability to tag people. You can add tags. You can change the names of tags. When you click on connections, it brings up people. You can sort by your new connections. Make sure you sort by your LinkedIn connections. I've got all connections here, but you select by your LinkedIn connections. You can tag them. So I tag people A, B, C. So A, I want to be in contact with every 30 days. B, every 60 days. C, every 90 days or later. And then I have a whole bunch of other ones that I've got down here. If you want to add a new tag, you just go to the bottom of this list and you hit add new tag or manage tags, and you bring it in. Now, Why you want to do this is because if you tag certain people a certain way, you can send a message to a whole bunch of these people. So you can send up to message to up to 50 people in LinkedIn. And that way you've got them tagged by certain qualifications and you can send it out. So in this case, for example, I go down here, I got my connections, I got a tag, I'm going to tag a specific way. And then I just pick these people based on, I think they were STAD, which is sales tip a day prospects. And I just selected all of them. And then I hit message and I can send a message out to these people. The other way is you can also do it by location. So if, for example, you have an event going on in Calgary, I can find people that are in Calgary based on their location. Now, I haven't necessarily tagged them because people have already put their location in. It will have it in there. So I can go into LinkedIn by location, pull it up. And let's say, for example, I've got an event or a trade show I want to invite people to, and it's in a specific area. I can send a group message off to 50 people that way by just selecting these profiles of these people once the results come back. So that's how you send messages and emails in LinkedIn, which is a great thing. Okay, so
let's talk a little bit about advertising, Chris. So there's some bad stories about people using LinkedIn for advertising and what LinkedIn will actually do to your account if you are turning LinkedIn into an advertising function versus just using information, communication, because there are limitations. I mean, you can't simply start advertising your company or products you're selling on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
it's a big no-no.
It's spamming, right? Like LinkedIn has advertising, and they have it there for a reason because it's a revenue stream for them, right? If you're on and all you're doing is pumping and selling and pumping and selling and pumping and selling, you run the risk of breaching LinkedIn's terms and conditions. And when you do that, you absolutely will.
Right.
They'll shut your account down. And Chris and I have a mutual acquaintance who does this consistently without providing any value, I guess is the best way to do it. And I'm surprised this account hasn't been shut down yet, but I'm sure it will one of these days, right? Good point, Chris. In this case, so now pay attention. Take a drink of coffee. I'm going to have a drink of coffee right now. Take a drink of coffee because you're going to want to see this because this is LinkedIn giving you a free sales lead. So bear with me for 2 secs. Yum coffee. There we go. So there's a little thing in LinkedIn called alerts. And how do you find alerts? What happens is if you go into, once again, your search bar up here, hit advanced, fill out the information that you want, all this information here, and hit search, it's going to bring back results. Now, in this case, I'm actually using controller. I'm not using VP of sales, but I'm finding in Calgary, I found 740 people that have the title controller in, I believe it was the oil and gas industry. Yeah, oil and energy industry. And what you want to do is when you have a free account, you can save 3 of these. First tier, you get 7, then it goes 10 and 15. The top 2 tiers, you can get results coming back in on a daily basis. I get results coming back on a weekly basis. Now, I'll get to that in just a second here. Click this right here. And what it does is it allows you to save that search in LinkedIn. So why do you want to do this? LinkedIn goes through and finds anybody with that search parameter who's made a change in their profile. So once again, they may have just added an and, but the gold in this one is if they've changed jobs and moved into a new position. So this is LinkedIn sending you sales leads on a weekly or daily basis. Within the first 3 months at a new position, a person who has budget is 10 times more likely to make a product or service change. And that's the absolute golden opportunity. I got that from a guy, Craig Elias. Craig wrote a book called Shift Selling. I highly recommend it to anybody. It's an awesome book. He's a local Calgary writer, but it's a great book. So I would highly recommend that. He brought this to my attention about 2-3 years ago. So what happens is LinkedIn will send you these into your inbox. And here's what you do. Every week, go in when they send this to you or go back into your saved searches. So you go into advanced search, and when you do this, you hit your save search, or up here, it'll bring back your results. You click on these little numbers here, and it'll bring back the people that are in that results, or you wait for the email to come. click on these people. So there's 38 here. It'd take me about 5 minutes to click through and see if any of these people have changed their position in the last 3 months. So when you click on here, you look at their profile, you scroll down, you're going to see their position, and just take a look. If it's like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, then my recommendation is try to get in front of that person as fast as humanly possible, because that's when they're going to make the change. So once again, let me repeat this. Within the first 3 months, a person in a new role is 10 times more likely to make a product or service change. What you need to do is focus on key decision makers in companies, which is going to be the VPs, the CXOs, etc., and make sure that you connect with these people and create value. Get in front of them as quick as humanly possible. Once again, I say Craig Elias, Shift Selling, great book. He's the guy that came up with this. He talks about it in that book. It's amazing. This will help you generate sales leads as well. Same thing. Go back. If they're a second level connection, leverage your first level connections to get in the door to see that person. If they're third level and group members, do it a different way and get in to see them. Before I go into the next few sections, so once again, one of my main goals with LinkedIn connections is to get them onto a platform I control, which means email or a CRM. A couple of reasons why is follow up on LinkedIn using their messaging service is brutal. It is so tough to use and leverage. I highly recommend if you can get them onto an email thread or get them into a CRM and use CRM's email functionality, that's the best way to do it. The other thing too is that LinkedIn is changing. They're literally changing their platform on a fairly consistent basis right now. And at some point in time, I have a feeling that they will not give you the option to find someone's email address on their profile, and they're going to pretty much force people. This is just my thoughts. They're going to force people to use their messenger service to connect with everyone on LinkedIn to make the platform more sticky. So make sure that you can get that off LinkedIn, start those conversations off LinkedIn. The other reason is because LinkedIn could shut your account down at any point in time. You don't control it. They can shut it down and you lose that. So with that in mind, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of taking take your LinkedIn connections offline. First one is using a CRM program called Contactually. And if you go to contactually.com, you can get a 30-day trial. I love Contactually. The reason I love Contactually is because it dumbs so much stuff down for me, shows me what I have to do. And literally, it gives me about anywhere from about 140 to 200 additional hours of productivity gains on a monthly basis. And if you want to see that, reach out to me, chris@salestipaday.com. I'll push you through to a blog post I did on that. I'm also doing a broadcast with Contactually in a couple of weeks on leveraging their platform for your LinkedIn connections. So what is Contactually? I just talked about. It's client relationship management. It allows you to categorize your contacts and also determine how often you want to follow up with them and when you're going to follow up with them. The interesting thing about Contactually is it looks at, you connect your email address to it. It goes through your emails and pulls these people back. And it says, who is this person and what kind of a bucket do you want to put them in? And so, basically, once you're connected with a person on LinkedIn, it's tough to keep in contact with them. So there is a way to get the person's email address, put it into Contactually, and then create a follow-up stream. So for example, I put people in, once again, A, B, and C buckets. I also have people that are LinkedIn connections, and I put certain timeframes against them. I'll show you that in just a second here. The one way to add connections in LinkedIn is to do it manually, from LinkedIn into Contactually is to do it manually. And it's long and tedious. The quickest way though, is if you go into LinkedIn, go into connections. In the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see this little wheel. Click on that wheel. And what that does is it brings up some options to export your LinkedIn connections. Click on that. You're going to get this screen here. And what you're going to do is you're going to see Microsoft Outlook. And it's a .csv file. Export it. Make sure you use that option right there to export it. And it'll download your contacts into a CSV or an Excel file, basically. Now, I also recommend to people try to do this on a monthly basis, just in case, so you've got a running history of your connections on LinkedIn and their email addresses should you get kicked off or should they change anything. Now, what you can do with that file on Contactually is you click Choose File, And then what you do is you click comma separator, comma, it's a comma separated CSV file, and you submit. And then what happens is it will get uploaded into Contactually. And then what you have to do, you have to go through and just confirm that these people are in Contactually and they are who they say they are. And then once you do that once, basically you're done on that. So that's how you import all these people in there. Now, what happens is put them into a bucket. So what I do is, like I said, I got A, B, C buckets. I put contacts into them. I put reminders out on how many days I want to keep in touch with them. Once again, my first level connections should be in my A bucket. I know that's a little small. There's only 35 there, but it's a work in progress, right? I've got a whole bunch of I've got 24 other buckets that I've got people in. But what you want to do is try to build relationships with your first level connections on a consistent basis and move it forward, because you want to get access to their connections to get sales meetings lined up. And one of the things that's really cool about Contactually is once you've got someone into a bucket, you can also create email templates. So in the upper right-hand corner, you hit settings, you go into email templates, you add a template. And in this case, I've got a whole bunch of templates or email templates that are set up. Now what I can do is I can hit their programs button and I can create a program that allows me to put those templates in place and send it to people on a consistent basis. So one of the things that I do is I've got one, which is a new contact follow-up. I've got 13 steps in it. And so Contactually allows me to add email messages. So I add someone to a bucket or to a program. And then what it does is it walks through a series of steps and it puts people into each one of these steps. So first thing it does is, in this case, it says, wait 2 days and then send this message. Then wait 30 days, send this message. Wait 30 days, send this message. Wait 30 days, send this message. So what I'm doing is I'm basically sending these emails to people. It's a set it and forget it. And it keeps me in front of these people and builds stronger relationships with them. The other thing that Contactually does is when I go to my dashboard, it just lists all the people that I haven't connected with in a certain time frame. So in this case, it says, do I want to follow up? I click that follow up button and it says, what do you want to do? Well, I want to send them an email. So I can click a different email if I want, fill out this template, and I can hit send. The other thing it allows me to do, it allows me to track, did they open it? Did they click on it? If they didn't open it, then I can also say, remind me in 7 days to go back to this person and send something to them. And I can also send it out in an hour, 2 hours. I can send it out, tomorrow, couple of days, couple of weeks. I can set my own time frame on this one. So I can send messages out to people. So the other thing too is it tracks any of these messages that you've sent out. So you've got a running history. So if you look at Michael here, it shows me all these different conversations that I've had with Michael. And I can see, how long I'm staying, what I'm staying in contact with him, what I'm doing with him, everything like that. So it's a great little program. The other thing that it allows you to do is it allows you to send out emails to 50 people at once, up to 300 people a day. So once again, if you have LinkedIn connections that you want to be in contact with, one of the things that I do is my webcasts I send through here. I'll send it out to 300 people in a day, just by picking it, saying, hey, look, I'm going to be doing this. Would love for you to attend. And once again, instead of sending out 300 emails, which would probably, 5 minutes each email, I don't know, it would take me like 8 hours a day or something like that, right? It'd take forever.
Something to add there too, Chris, is we're so focused on prospecting and staying in front of prospects until they turn into a sale. The biggest mistake I see is once you've got a client, this follow-up stops. That Contactually is brilliant to make sure that client comes back for more.
Yeah.
And that's where, to me, a lot of the business owners and small business owners fall down. They're so worried about prospecting. They sold a mortgage, a house, a product, whatever, and that's it. They're never seen in Contactually again. And you can set up a whole year of trailers to make sure that you're in front of them.
Absolutely. The other thing too is that 6 times easier to get a sales from an existing client. You get 2 to 4 times more referrals.
Right.
In addition, one of the webcasts we did in the past, we were talking about 78% of people, I think it's 78% of people will hire or use the same realtor again. Like 24% do or something. I can't remember this. It's almost close to 50%. 50% of realtors miss out on that. It's the same thing with like mortgage agents and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Average mortgage is every 2 years or something like that. People renew.
Yep. But the mortgage agent isn't in front of them. They're looking for that new opportunity versus running it like almost like like using the referral business
running it like a business.
Yeah.
It's all about creating that, right? So anyways, the benefits to this is you can send multiple emails at a time. You can automate these emails. You can see who's open and click the links so you can gauge the engagement against that. You can set it and forget it for the marketing. And basically you create a follow-up program for your LinkedIn connections through Contactually. It's an amazing program. It is $49 a month, but once again, I am always a big fan of invest in yourself and make some money. You'll make it back in spades. Another one that I use is something called Yesware. Yesware is it's a plugin for Gmail and Outlook. And one of the best things that it does is it allows me to put templated emails in that I use over and over again. And it also tracks who's opened my emails. And so, for example, when I'm in Gmail, I've got templates. When I've got my my plugin running, templates down in the bottom right hand corner. When I set up a new message, I can click on that and add that message in, so I don't have to retype this on a consistent basis. And because of that, it saves me 5-7 minutes each email, right? And so what I do is in this case is when I connect with someone on LinkedIn, usually every Friday or once a week, I go back in and see who my new connections are. And I get their email address. I take it outside of LinkedIn. I put it into my Gmail, and I use one of the templates that I've got in here to send a message to them. And then that way, they're in my Gmail, and I can manage that relationship outside of LinkedIn, just in case I ever get kicked off LinkedIn, which I probably won't, but just in case. One of the other things that's really cool. So once again, as I can track who's open and who's clicked, I can put a reminder in place to follow up with this person in a certain amount of time. So if I sent something off to them and say, hey, look, I need to, I want to be able to follow up with these guys in like 3 days to find out where they're at with this, I can set a reminder, and a reminder pops up in my Gmail. I can add it to my CRM system. As long as I'm using Google Chrome, it allows me to do that. I can send the email at a later time. So anyone who's got a boss and wants to make it look like they're working at 2 a.m. in the morning, set it up so it fires out at 2 a.m. in the morning. They're going to think you work great. One of the other cool things is that you can attach a PDF document or a Word document or a PowerPoint document in here, and you can see what someone's opened and how long they've spent on that page through a different report. So for example, if you're sending a 20-page proposal and they spend like half a minute on 19 pages, but they spend literally like 15 minutes on one of the pages, one of two things: either they're really interested in the information that's sitting on that page, or they had to go do a bio break, I guess, at that point in time, and they left it open. But it gives you a little bit more insight. And here's how you do this: is in the Gmail, at the upper part, there's a thing called Yesware, the Yesware plugin here. When you click on it, it gives you these options. It says here, did these people open it? Did they not open it? Everything like that. You can see what's going on. One of the things that I will recommend is don't send it to a whole bunch of people. The reason being is because Yesware will not differentiate between who's opened it and who hasn't opened it. Send it to one person at a time if you're sending a message out, if you want to see if they opened it or not. So the benefits of this, once again, it's templated. There's templated emails that you have in here that you could send huge time savings. You get to see who's opened it. You get to see if they clicked on a link. You also get to see what they're looking at on a document. You get to see the reminders, and you can track all this information in a CRM as well. Whew, we're plowing through. So now we're getting close. Any other questions? Nope, looks good. Thanks for hanging in, guys.
Yeah, just a comment, Chris, too. This seems like a lot of stuff and a lot of work.
Yeah.
But for any business owner, and I consider mortgage, real estate,
small business
consultants,
owners,
small business owners, the
everything.
same thing. It's a lot of work, but you can manage thousands and thousands of prospects in 50 minutes every day.
Yeah.
It is just so easy. And I think most people don't see what LinkedIn and the power it has. And obviously you show them that.
Yep.
But I tell you, I'm also a student of Hamilton's here too, and use these programs. And you can literally get up in the morning, track what you have to do, and spend the rest of the day golfing. Not that I would do that, but literally, and you're in front of people, and it's quite powerful.
Sure. Not that you'd golf. Well, it's snow season there, so you can't golf. So hey, I'm going to run through a few things. A couple of ways to find some prospects, potential prospects and clients on LinkedIn. So first thing I always do is, create an avatar. Who is your ideal customer? You think about their title, think about their location, think about the industry that they're in. Those are kind of the main three that you want to look at. In this case, once again, I'm looking at VP of Vice President of Sales and Marketing in Calgary, and I'm going to look in the oil and gas energy, right? So I use the advanced search. I go through and I'm going to pick anyone that's a second level connection. Don't have to worry about my first levels right now. I'm just using second level connections. They're in Calgary. So I've got second level here. I've got them in Calgary, and I've got them in the industry, which is oil and energy. And I've got my vice president for sales and marketing in here. Then what happens is I get 213 results come back. And so what I do is my third step in this process after I've done this is I figure out which ones I want to connect with or get approached to. So in this case, let's say James, I want to get in touch with. There's three people here that I could leverage to get in. I don't know Chris all that well, but I know Sherry and Nav quite well. So I could leverage them to get in the door. In this case, here's a guy that I see on here as well, who's a vice president at Trinidad Drilling, who I'd love to get in front of. But these three people I wouldn't leverage to get in the door to see this guy because I just couldn't use them as just not good enough relationships with these people. So what I do, click on these 22 shared down here, and it opens up and shows me who it is. Lo and behold, my buddy Jim Demas shows up as number one here as a connection to Jay, and I could absolutely leverage Jimmy to get in the door to Jay. And so that is kind of find the people, figure out who it is that you want to do. Now, what I say is use a spreadsheet and track this stuff. So put the person's name, put their company down, put their title down, what level connection they are, see who you can get a referral from, and see where the connections are. So, and then see when you sent your first message and then any peripheral information on this one. The difference between referral from and connections are connections. I want to see how many people I know that are connected to this person. Referral is I actually am asking them to refer me into this person. So once again, what we do is we use this second level connection intro where I reach out to my first level connections and say, hey, can you introduce me to this person? Because my product will help them with this and that. I hope you don't mind doing this stuff. And then what you do is go back into your spreadsheet. So step number 6 here, go back into your spreadsheet and start tracking what's going on. When did you send your first message? What happened? What came about from this stuff? And then that way, you know what's going on. I do this in a Google Doc. You can do this in Excel or Open Office or anything like that. You can do it on a text document, whatever. I just find it's easier to do it this way. And then step number 7, what you want to do is you want to go back and revisit this list on a regular basis, a fairly consistent basis, to see which connections were made. You want to see, if your connections, your first level connections haven't done anything, you want to just try to resend them an email to get in the door. If after 2 or 3 attempts, they're not doing it, obviously they're trying to give you the silent treatment and tell you that they won't do it. Go find another connection. So that's why it's it's imperative that you find more than just, one connection in with these accounts if you can. And then if you can't get in, try to use in-mails or a connection request to get in the door to see these people as well. And, once again, I look at it, I say, if I can't get a connection, I usually circle back anywhere from 30 to 90 days back into this list to just go back through and just see, can I go back and ask this person again, or can I find someone else that'll get me in the door? Now, this is, once you start tracking this stuff, you're going to see where the meetings are made, how many there were, everything like that. You're going to start seeing ratios, and you'll be able to tell, I booked this many meetings by asking this many people. And you can even put how many closed and everything like that. You'll be able to start tracking a lot of this stuff. And then that allows you to further, down the road, think about, well, if I need X amount of dollars in business and typically a sales this, and I get this, you'll be able to start determining those numbers for you as well. So last but not least, what I do is I say, connect with these people. Once you've had a meeting with them or reached out with them, connect with them on LinkedIn. Take them from a second level to a first level, and then put them into some sort of CRM, Contactually, Salesforce, Insightly, Microsoft Dynamics, whatever you're using. Make sure get them into a CRM so you're tracking all that stuff as well. Now, how much time does this take? For me, literally, I know that if I want to get about 10 meetings a week, I'm going to have to approach about 25 people in a week. to get those kind of meetings, because I get about 40% response rate on this stuff, or uptake on this. So what I do is on a Saturday or Sunday, I spend up to an hour just kind of trying to hone in and identify these people. And then what do I do Monday through Friday is, first thing in the morning, I use those connection letters. I reach out to my first level connections to get into second level connections. And usually I'll do 5 a day, and it takes up to 20 minutes a day for me to do that. So it is not a long time consuming process. Literally, anywhere from kind of 100 minutes here to 60 minutes. What's that? 160 minutes. You're looking at about 2.5 hours a week. 2.5 hours a week will help you generate way more sales leads, obviously. So it's a huge, huge opportunity for you. So once again, I'm going to talk about, how do you determine the right amount of introductions that you should be going after? So even though I just talked about it, you're going to track your results. You're going to determine your success rates. So if I reach out to 5 people a day, I'm going to get 2 meetings. Of those 2 meetings, I'm going to have a close rate of 50%, which means I'm going to have 5 sales a week, and I know my average sales $1,000, and I've got to get X amount a month in sales. That's how you start determining all this stuff. So just track your results, go back and figure out how many you've got to do on a fairly consistent basis. And as I say, for example, I need 10 meetings a week, 40% close rate. I know that I'm going to have to hit 25 people in a week, which is 5 a day. That's how I've determined what I need to do. The other thing I want to do is, once again, proof in the pudding. Does this stuff work? So this is the last company I worked for, a company called Intralinks. I leveraged social selling, webinars, and email marketing to get in front of people. And long story short is I sent 22 times more emails. Now I did that using Contactually and MailChimp to get my marketing message in front of people. I also ended up with 10 times more meeting than the average sales rep. And I ended up doing 30 times more WebExes on a monthly basis. And this is over a week, but you can see that, the next closest person is about half the amount, the next 2 closest people. And there's so few people that don't even get anywhere near me on this stuff. So it works. It goes to prove that it works. So my follow-up process for a LinkedIn connection is, long story short, I'm trying to strengthen my LinkedIn connections on a continual basis. Doing this on LinkedIn it's super tough, and they have a really awful reminder system. For example, my buddy Rob Williams here is, if I want to set a reminder, it's pretty static. I can do it 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, or recurring. I can kind of add a reminder. It's a pretty weak way to follow up with people. The way I do it is basically, once again, I export my connections from LinkedIn, take the Excel spreadsheet, upload it into Contactually, and create a follow-up process with these people. I add people to a bucket, and then I put them in a marketing process and continually stay in front of them. And then the other thing too is I can also get reminders as to when I need to follow up with these guys if they fall out of that, that process that I'm in as well. So, and it houses all the information that you need to know about this person as well. Depending on how I set up the recurring reminder, I now have a process to keep in touch with my LinkedIn connections and build stronger relationships. Once again, stronger relationships lead to introductions into second level, which is going to explode the amount of meetings that you get with qualified potential prospects. Here's one other way that you can do this. I'm rusty on this. I haven't done this in about a month, so some of these slides are being new to me again. I can go into, sorry about the noise upstairs. I got my 4-year-old running a chair across my kitchen floor. I go into connections, and then I can sort by new and by connections only. And then what I do is you can click on that person's profile. Down here, you're going to see contact information. When you click there, you're going to get their actual email address. You'll get their phone number as well and any other relevant information that they have. Then what I do is, as I said before, I go into Yesware. I put their name on here, and then I insert the template that I have. And because I've got this connected to my CRM system down here through Contactually, it will make a record of that person in Contactually for me. So I don't have to go in and double dip and put a second profile in to my CRM system. I'll just send all through Yesware. This takes me all of literally about 15 seconds to do. So I've added their email, I've inserted the template, and now I've added them into my CRM system as well. So the benefit is that you now have a record of the person in your CRM, and you can create a stay in touch plan with them as well. How do you keep engaged? Here's how I do it. I usually, I invite people to a monthly webinar that I do. I write some content. I'll send it to them. I record videos. There's a whole bunch of different things. I create courses and ask people to come take a look at my courses, give them away for free for a little bit. And, that's just building that relationship. So once again, my one last tip, your goal on LinkedIn is to build relationships, not lots of connections. Provide value to those that you're connected to. You can have 30,000 connections on LinkedIn, and I think that's the maximum amount you can have. But if you really have no meaningful relationships, then why would you do that? It makes no sense. That's not going to help you out in the slightest. Once again, value to people is through introductions, which can be sales leads, by sending relevant information or doing something that makes their life a lot easier. So guys, we plowed through this. I got through an hour and a half almost. I got about 3 or 4 more slides to go through. 2 ways to get this presentation. I'll talk about that in a sec here, but the first one I'm going to talk about is my Udemy class on LinkedIn. So this is only going to be free up until probably midnight tonight. Then I'm going to make this a paid for course. It's going to be $10 and it'll go up in $10 increments over the next 3 to 4 weeks. This is, it's 20 LinkedIn sales prospecting tips and tricks that you can use free at Udemy right now. If you go to Udemy, so udemy.com. And I'd say this, but there's a search bar, so put in 20 LinkedIn sales prospecting tips and tricks if you get to it, and it'll pop up. And you can get that access to that course until midnight tonight for free. And would greatly appreciate a 5-star review on it if you can. If you're not going to give me a 5-star review, please don't put it up because I want to keep my rating super high. Appreciate that. Offer. So I'm going to do an offer here. Offer number 1 is, apart from that Udemy course that is free for now, going up to $10, I've also created another course, which is a LinkedIn social selling success course. And it is a $299 course. Goes through a lot of the information that we just talked about in greater detail, plus the 20 other tips and tricks that I talk about, plus another 10 on top of it. Plus it's got 8 hours of marketing videos on top of it, all for $299. It's about 30 hours of content that you can get. As I say here, you got multiple step-by-steps, and 8 hours of marketing content, 30 tips and tricks that you get. I'd go through this, but basically it just talks about some of the high levels, what you'll get, how to get your messaging in front of 60% of your connections on a monthly basis, how to increase the likelihood of generating sales leads through LinkedIn, and all that sort of stuff. I haven't done this yet, but I got to add this code. Its regular price is $299. Last month I was giving it away for $99, but I'm giving it away for $199 now. Use the code December 2nd or December 2 at salestipaday.com or .teachable.com /courses/LinkedIn-social-selling-success. That's a mouthful, isn't it? You'll get it for $199. Oops. Use this code. Use December 2nd, not November 4th. That code's no longer good. Take action now, because what happens is if you get 10 new qualified meetings a week, 50% go into a funnel with 30% close rate, means you're getting 78 more sales a year. Huge, huge opportunity. In addition, I will do a half-hour consultation with you on LinkedIn, whether you're a small business owner, salesperson, whatever. We'll look at your profile. I'll give you some tips and tricks. I'll show you things that you can do to generate more business. And it's also got a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't like it, you can turn it back in and you'll get your money back. So the first way you can get your presentation, if you know me, give me a recommendation. So go into LinkedIn and go to my profile, Chris Hamilton in Calgary, sales tip a day. That's where you'll find me. And go to where it says send a message, click the down arrow, and you're going to see recommendation. Give me some sort of recommendation, such as like, hey, great course, Chris, appreciated the information, all that stuff. And
this is for today's course.
Yeah,
Just want to clarify.
Yeah, and I'll send you the replay for today. Once again, the other thing too is I get lazy over a couple of days here. I'll leave it up on this web page for the next couple of days, so you can watch it that way as well. if you want to get access to it. Offer number 2. So I have a 4-week LinkedIn social selling success online training. It's 2 hours a week. We'll work with a group of up to 9 people. You'll also get my social selling success course. You'll also get my Udemy course plus 8 hours of marketing. That's for $499. Here's the second way you can get the presentation. If you do not want to give me a recommendation, and if we are not connected on LinkedIn, then connect with me on LinkedIn here. So it's ca.linkedin.com/in/Chris Hamilton CAA, or just look up Chris Hamilton in Calgary. There's probably a few of us, but you'll find the coolest one at the top. That's me. Then send me a message afterwards saying that, hey, I went to your course, and I will send you the webcast as well. Offer number 3, I will do one-on-one training with people over 8 weeks, 1-hour sessions on coaching on LinkedIn. To get you up and running and leveraging LinkedIn to the max to get way more opportunities. You'll get my social selling course. You'll get 8 hours of the marketing course. You'll get my Udemy course, which I didn't write in here, all for $1,500. One thing I want people to know, so reach out to me on that one. Reach out to me, chris@salestipaday.com, and just tell me that you may be interested in that one. A LinkedIn Q&A session. So 2 weeks today at this exact time, I am going to do a Q&A session. If you are registered through any of my courses on or my email lists that I have, you'll get notification of this. Bring your questions. I got several great ones last time that I'm going to turn into blog posts, and I'll probably review them at that time as well and just explain to people what questions were asked. But all you got to do for this one is just show up. Go to bit.ly, so bit.ly/LinkedIn_Q&A. The letter Q, the letter N, the letter A, bit.ly/LinkedIn_Q&A. And go there on December 16th at 9 a.m. And that's what'll happen. So that's it. But I also say there's one more. I'm going to just send one more thing out here. When you are asking people to connect with you on LinkedIn, do not use their standard verbiage, which is, I'd like to connect with you on LinkedIn. I accept everyone that does this. I hate it though. What I want to know is, hey, I saw your blog post. I saw this. I learned this. I came across your profile. We're in the same group or whatever. Give me some meaningful reference as to why you want to connect with me, and then send it to me. And as I say, I accept everyone's, and very, very rarely do I unconnect with people on LinkedIn. But other people aren't as easygoing as me. They'll just kind of ignore you. And that way, you won't build that network up. So give them more opportunity. Tell them what it is that you want to do. You want to contact me, reach out to me, chris@salestipaday.com, 403-630-1243. Chris McKenzie, how can people get a hold of you?
You can give me a call on my cell at 403-804-0431, and they can text me as well, Chris.
And what can you do for them, Chris?
Well, we'll do the other side of the sales process. For a lot of my mortgage and real estate people, we'll be talking about commercial real estate, commercial mortgages, private lending here in the province. And we'll also work together on deals, quite frankly, because most of my deals come through LinkedIn. Yeah. I don't have to go prospect and do presentations anymore. We simply provide that information. So I'm on the real estate side, and I work with people on the sales side for real estate as well.
Excellent. So we got 15 people still online, at least it looks like, through chat roll. Does anyone have any questions? If you got any questions, please feel free to type them in, and we will. I'll try to answer them as best I can. Give it a couple of minutes here.
It's December already.
December, I know. What did I say? Did I say November or something like that?
No.
Oh.
But, it kind of hit me between the eyes.
You know what? Yeah, so it's December 2nd today. So guys, really seriously think most people's companies' year ends are on December 31st, and it's a whole new year on January 1st, right?
January running.
And hit it running. Start now. I guarantee you start now by leveraging some of the stuff that I've got in here or in the courses that I have, and you will hit January running. Once again, one of the things that I really want to highlight, I'm going to go back to pretty much the beginning here, which is the buyer profiles or social selling stats. Where is it? A lot of the stuff that I teach in here, or that I've taught in here, social sellers have 45% more opportunities in their pipeline. Hopefully you glean that today and how that is. Leverage your first level connections to get into your second level connections. I showed an example here where VP of sales, just by adding second level connections, it was 78 times greater. So I got a bigger pond to fish from, 78 times greater, bigger pond to fish from on that stuff. These guys are also, you get 51%, they're going to make quota 51% more. They're more likely to make quota 51% more of the time. Just people that use social selling, once again, they're going to attain or exceed quota 23% more often than their peers that don't use this sort of stuff. One of the biggest things I want to reiterate is that this isn't something you just kind of do or should be looking at in the future. This is something, it's the here and now, and it literally will help you succeed massively. And it works as a perpetual engine. I'm kind of stealing that from a guy named Bill Cates, not Gates, but Cates. It's a revenue perpetual, it's a referral perpetual engine. Once you bring people on, those people will help potentially introduce you to people as well. So your network dramatically expands and you get way more opportunities. So highly recommend. This is like the way to go.
Just before we chime off, Chris, I think we need to bring to the attention the other program we did for mortgage and real estate agents, surrounding yourself with your top 6, leveraging the top 6 suppliers in the industry.
Yep.
Agents who are spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on flyers and reminders and magnets are missing a huge opportunity. And I met with somebody yesterday. It's actually a financial planning firm for my commercial product. And these guys are in front of people constantly, as one example, who are always looking for mortgage suppliers. And the course that we talked about, which we did, I think about a month ago, was, you know what, there's using LinkedIn to surround yourself with the suppliers, to use Google Hangouts, to never have to cold call or spend money on advertising again. And that's a course that's been done. I just wanted to mention it. That might be something you want to throw out in January.
I'm gonna crank that out as a course on Udemy as well.
Okay.
It'll be coming out soon. But I did the broadcast. I did another broadcast last week. I was going to shut it down, but decided to keep it going. And I only had like 5 or 6 people show up because I didn't promote it that much. Mm-hmm. But the whole idea behind it is leveraging referrals. So one of the things that you can do, surround yourself in, and Chris talks about 6, you start with 6, but you can grow it from there. But people that, if you are, say, a realtor or a mortgage broker or whatever, there's people that are doing stuff to their house before they move that creates trigger events for multiple people. So for example, someone fixes a roof on their house. The roofer finds out that they're trying to sell their house. They need to get it fixed beforehand. Yep. Roofer can go, hey, is there any other things you're doing? Are you looking for a realtor? Are you looking for this, right? Yep. They're like, no, we haven't picked a realtor yet. Oh, I got this great network. You need to talk to my realtor, right? And can I introduce you to him? Yes, do that, please. Yep. And the other thing is, you can have a lead behind with the different people that are in this group and what it can do. So, you have like an HVAC guy, you have a landscaper, you have a whole bunch of different people. One of the other things I went into in the course, and I don't think, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, as a realtor, you can't make commissions off of a transaction you're currently doing with someone else. Is that correct?
You can make a commission in the province of Alberta. You can accept commissions from other service providers. What you can't do is you can't pay commissions to a service provider because they're not an industry member. So that's where you have to be very clear. And the rules with RECA are pretty clear.
Okay.
So me being a mortgage jockey, I can accept your referral from the roofer who got on the roof, but I can't pay you part of the fee that was part of the success fee in getting a mortgage. Yeah. So I just want to be really clear on that.
Yeah. So that's part of the stuff we talk about in that course is do you get a commission? Do you not get a commission? The biggest benefit from this is just the amount of leads that you'll get coming through. You don't have to worry about commissions and making that additional revenue stream, right?
Well, I tell you, we met with the financial planning firm yesterday, and I got 400 people who talk to people about their mortgages every single day. So why in the world would you advertise when they can refer you and you can build that relationship? And that's part of the course. Yep. It's how to build those relationships and how to leverage them.
Yeah, absolutely. Stop cold calling. Don't have to do that anymore. Still have 15 people online, I think, unless I refresh and we see if anyone's gone. Well, we're down to 1 online. So we're done.
Great tips as usual.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.